big thing this week has been Jack, the accountability, I would like to call this, the accountability of Jack Fritz. Jack did say he would quit the show if Phillies fans cheered for Rhys Hoskins when he hit a home run. They did cheer. He didn't quit. So as punishment, Jack has agreed to a punishment that we and you, the listener, come up with. So we do have 3 options that you're going to be able to vote on. But for the rest of the show, before we vote or before we announce at 4 o'clock, if you do have a punishment idea, you can call in with it. We're still looking for one more. We have plenty of ideas, but we're looking for one more golden one that we can announce at 4. Then we will put the poll out for the people at 4 o'clock, and we will announce the winner or the loser, as it were, tomorrow during tomorrow's show. You a little worried, Jack? The Blue Chew thing might happen?
That I hope does not happen.
Okay.
But yeah, I actually am definitely, because I know some of them.
Yeah.
And if one of them it would pain me too much.
Yeah, well.
I'm not a big public humiliation guy.
Yeah.
I try to avoid it at almost all costs.
Yeah. Do you feel good, though, given that we're celebrating the USA today,
right?
And one of the things about the USA is accountability. Are you glad that you're being held accountable?
I feel so much pride because of how accountable I am being held. It makes me so happy.
So speaking of accountability, Eagles mandatory minicamp happening today. Jalen Hurts spoke, and he was asked a question about Nick Sirianni, and the response was, I would say less than optimal. Here's how it sounded.
Nick being open-minded to change up the offense like he has. What does that say about him?
It's a great question. I don't know that I know the answer to it.
What have you seen from him as far as doing that?
I think he's just, he's been great and, the messages he's delivering to the team. He's trying to be very intentional in what he's saying. And yeah.
You know what that reminded me of? You guys watch Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives every once in a while, the Guy Fieri, where he eats the food and he talks about whether he's good.
Yeah.
You can always tell if he doesn't actually like something.
Right.
Because he just says the ingredients that are in it.
Right.
And you're like, well. And Jalen Hurts goes, well, he's being very intentional. That's something, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not a great answer.
No, listen, I don't know. Maybe he was trying to find the right words. I don't know. I guess you could have easily thrown out some bouquets there and just give some old random standard platitudes to the head coach.
Right.
I don't think anybody would have batted an eye. And this does make people have to sort of scratch their head like, oh, that wasn't really a ringing endorsement.
Right. Do you think, well, I guess you're just guessing, but I'll ask you to guess. Is his inability to sort of, to verbalize something like that, is it just that he's not a great talker? Is it that he genuinely doesn't know?
No, he's a great talker and he's very smart.
So do you think, and by the way, I wasn't saying he wasn't smart.
No.
No.
When I say he's very smart, I'm just saying
he knows what he's doing.
Jalen and other things speaking. When he wants to elaborate about something and go into detail about something, he has no problem doing it.
So the concern that I have is that he is giving that answer on purpose.
Yes.
That's the concern. Not that he doesn't have an answer, because if maybe he doesn't see Sirianni very often during the mandatory minicamp. Maybe he's just working with Kellen Moore, blah, 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 blah. But the fact that he chose not to just give the normal platitudes of what you would say about your boss.
Yeah.
Little worrying.
Yeah.
Little concerning. Little bit.
It certainly raises your antennas.
Yeah.
It caught our eye, our ear. So we're sort of trying to figure out, is it, I don't know what it means. So everything is about body language, right? Sometimes the message is in the body language, and it's not what he's saying, it's what he's not saying. And you could tell that it looked like he was searching for things to say.
He was sort of grinning when you were watching.
Or almost searching not to say certain things.
That's it.
Right? Like he was trying to make sure he didn't say
what came into his mind
at
first. Right.
Yes. So he was trying to figure out other ways to say it. And you know what? That's going to be something that is going to require more monitoring. I do believe that. How he and Nick Sirianni interacts. These are things that we look into Sorry, fans. I'm sorry, but when you don't give glowing answers about your head coach, or if it was vice versa, imagine if the head coach had said that about the quarterback.
We'd be talking about it for weeks.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
what is Jalen doing well at practice? And he goes, man, he's giving good messaging.
He's intentional out there. Like,
what does that mean?
So we would dissect that and think that there's more to there. So I think it's something that people are going to pay attention more to. And if I'm Jalen,
Yeah.
the next time this is broached to me, I got a different answer the
Might
next
have
time.
an answer.
Yeah, I got a different answer the next time, because all you're doing is feeding
This.
That's all you're doing. If that's the way you continue to, I guess, answer questions when in regards to Nick Sirianni, his role, or what have you, it's just people are going to read into it, whether you agree with it or not.
It reminds me of that line in Office Space where Lumbergh goes, "What would you say you do here?" And I feel like people are asking Jalen, what is Nick doing? And
that's really what the question was inquiring about. What's Nick's role here with the offense?
Right.
Like, what is he doing?
Yes.
Let's this. Remember the last spot? You may not remember. You were certainly here, but I don't know if you remember back then in 2020 with Doug and Carson and the whole Brett Favre thing. And
oh, yes, I do remember
answering the question, and Doug wouldn't answer the question, and he wouldn't disagree with Brett, or Brett has his own, he's entitled to his own opinion.
And he wouldn't just disagree with them for the sake of the team.
What are you talking about? So you almost feed into that stuff.
I do remember. Man, I'd forgotten about that.
Well, it's one of the greatest pieces of audio in show history is Doug on Favre. Which is the worst answer? Just real quick. Which is the worst answer? That Jalen answer or this?
Just to clarify on the Brett Favre business, you said you respect his opinion, but his opinion in this instance was that you should have kept Nick Foles and gotten rid of Carson Wentz. I'm assuming that's not your opinion?
I respect Brett's opinion. He's entitled to his opinion, and that's fine, and I'll leave it at that.
Oh, yeah. So this isn't that totally,
no.
but
it makes you worried.
It's in the same club.
Yeah, but it makes your antennas raised up.
Because I don't know how it's not a long-term thing. If the visions of the head coach quarterback being here for 5 to 10 years,
right? Yeah,
that's what makes you worried of this thing's combustible.
I agree.
Well, and the thing that
you want to make you want the feeling that your head coach and quarterback are on the same page and in sync with each other.
And the thing that Jalen has to understand is he is not the level of player, or at least he's not at the position in the NFL. He hasn't been so good for so long that he can go out there and say to himself, yeah, you know what? I'm just not going to play well. I'll get the coach out of here and we'll move on. This has to work for both of them.
Yes.
I
think this is a big year for Jalen as well.
They're very tied to each other in this. So you had best hope, even if he's not your dream head coach, even if you go home thinking, I wish that guy wasn't the head coach, even if all those things are happening in your head, it's better for you if this works.
I would think so.
I think so.
Yes, I would think so.
215-592-9494. Are you worried about Nick Sirianni?